I was disheartened. I'm a human too. I have a family. I have 2 kids who are devastated by these comments. Commissioner Cathy Engelbert stood before the cameras, visibly shaken. But this wasn't about sympathy. This was about survival. The WNBA just offered players something historic, over $1 million in salary, revenue sharing that could push earnings even higher, and minimum salaries jumping from $66,000 to $225,000. On paper, it looked like a massive win for women's basketball. But Caitlin Clark and the Players Association did something nobody expected. They walked away from the table, not just hesitated, not just asked for more time. They looked at that $1 million offer and said no. And now the entire leadership structure of the WNBA is crumbling under pressure. The commissioner who built a $2.2 billion media deal is fighting for her job. Players are calling her the worst leader in the world. Stars are refusing to meet with her.
Commissioner saying that the league has the, quote, worst leadership in the world.
What went so wrong that players would reject generational money? Why is the biggest star in women's basketball standing against the league? And what does this mean for the future of a sport that just had its best season ever? The answer is way more complicated than you think. Stay with us, because what's really happening behind those boardroom doors will shock you. The explosion nobody saw coming. September 30th, 2025. Minnesota Lynx star Napheesa Collier sat down for what should have been a routine exit interview. Her team had just been eliminated from the playoffs. She was nursing an ankle injury.
Napheesa Collier is not on this list. Instead, here is her name at the top of the injury report.
Most players in this situation give standard answers, such as being proud of the team and saying we'll be back stronger. The usual stuff. Collier had other plans. She spent her interview absolutely destroying WNBA leadership. Not just criticizing, destroying. She called Commissioner Cathy Engelbert negligent. She said the league has the worst leadership in the world.
I sat across from Cathy and asked how she planned to address the officiating issues in our league. Well, only the losers complain about the refs.
But that wasn't even the most explosive part. Collier revealed private conversations she'd had with Engelbert earlier that year.
I have tried to have these conversations in private, but it's clear there is no intention of accepting there's a problem.
According to Collier, when she asked about pay disparities for rookie stars like Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, and Paige Buchers, the commissioner's response was shocking. Engelbert allegedly told her that Clark should be grateful she makes $16 million off the court, because without the platform the WNBA gives her, she wouldn't make anything.
Caitlin should be grateful she makes $16 million off the court, because without the platform that the WNBA gives her, she wouldn't make anything.
Even more damaging, Collier claimed Engelbert said players should be on their knees thanking their lucky stars for the media rights deal that I got them.
She told me players should be on their knees thanking their lucky stars for the media rights deal that I got them.
Within hours, the basketball world exploded. Social media went crazy. Other players started backing Collier's claims. The timing couldn't have been worse or more strategic. The collective bargaining agreement was set to expire in a month, and now the person supposed to negotiate with players had just been publicly exposed as dismissive and out of touch. Engelbert denied making those specific comments. She called them inaccuracies.
There's a lot of inaccuracy out there through social media and all this reporting.
But the damage was done. Whether she said those exact words or not, one thing became crystal clear. The players didn't trust their commissioner. The money that wasn't enough. The WNBA thought they were being generous. In 2024, top players were making $241,984. That's the supermax salary. Rookies and bench players, they started around $62,285. Decent money for most people, but nothing compared to what happens across the street in NBA arenas. Then came the 2025 negotiations. The league walked in ready to blow everyone's minds. Maximum salaries are jumping to $1.1 million. Average pay is hitting $460,000. Even the minimum climbing to $220,000. For a league that had struggled financially for years, this felt revolutionary. But players weren't celebrating. They were calculating. The WNBA had just locked in an 11-year media deal worth $2.2 billion. Break that down, it's $200 million annually. Add streaming partners and other revenue sources, and you're pushing $3 billion total. New franchises were launching in San Francisco, Portland, and Toronto. Attendance records were falling every night. Clark's rookie season proved the business model worked. Her games drew 20,000 fans instead of the usual 4,000. Her jersey sales crushed everyone else's numbers. Some of her games even beat NBA playoff ratings. So when players saw that $1.1 million offer, they pulled out calculators. The league brings in $200 million per year just from TV money. Why are salaries capped at fixed amounts instead of tied to actual revenue? The NBA gives players 50% of basketball income. Automatic. When revenue grows, paychecks grow. The WNBA, players currently receive 9.3% of total revenue. The new offer raised dollar amounts but kept that broken structure. Players would still get crumbs while owners kept the cake. They said no, not out of greed, out of principle. The Caitlin Clark factor. You can't tell this story without understanding what Caitlin Clark represents. She's not just a talented player. She's a cultural phenomenon who proved something the league's leadership never quite believed. Women's basketball can be mainstream. Clark made $78,666 in base salary during her 2025 season.
Caitlin has the ability to make up to $500,000 just in WNBA wages.
She earned some bonuses, $30,000 for winning the Commissioner's Cup, a few thousand more for making the playoffs and the All-Star team. Her total WNBA earnings, $114,000. Her endorsement deals, over $16 million. Clark has deals with Gatorade, State Farm, Wilson, Nike, and about a dozen other major brands. She's the 6th highest paid female athlete in the world, and she makes 99.3% of her money outside of basketball. This creates a fascinating dynamic. Clark doesn't need the WNBA's money to survive. She could sit out an entire season and still make millions. But here's what matters. She chose to stand with the players' union anyway. Clark has been mostly quiet during these negotiations. She hasn't given fiery speeches or called out the commissioner publicly. But her silence speaks volumes. When the biggest star in your sport, the person who single-handedly changed your business model, refuses to cross the picket line, you've got a problem. The league knows this. They know that without Clark on the court, their momentum stops. The new fans who showed up to watch her play, they disappear. The TV ratings that justified that $2.2 billion media deal, they crater. This gives Clark enormous leverage, and she's using it, not for herself, but for all players. That's what makes this different from typical labor disputes. The star with the most to gain individually is fighting for the players who make the minimum. Why the commissioner is fighting for her job? Cathy Engelbert took over as WNBA commissioner in 2019. She came from Deloitte, one of the world's biggest consulting firms, where she was the first female CEO of a Big Four accounting company. She was supposed to be the person who finally made women's basketball profitable.
Valuations have gone from 5 to 260, 270 million on average over about a 5-year period.
And in many ways, she succeeded. Under her leadership, the league secured that massive media deal. She expanded the WNBA from 12 teams to what will be 16 teams by 2028.
Get to 16 teams in the next few years. So we're at 13 with the Golden State team. Our plan is to get 3 more in the next few years.
She solved the charter flight issue that had players flying commercial while hauling their own luggage. She navigated the COVID pandemic by creating the Wubble, a bubble in Florida that allowed the 20-20 season to happen safely.
Players are affectionately calling here at IMG Academy in Bradenton, Florida, the Wubble for the WNBA bubble.
By traditional business metrics, Engelbert crushed it. Franchise values skyrocketed. The league went from being treated as the NBA's charity project to being a legitimate business. But she made one critical mistake. She forgot that sports leagues aren't just businesses, they're relationships. The players never felt like Engelbert understood them. She spoke in corporate buzzwords. She talked about sustainability and long-term viability when players wanted to hear about respect and fair compensation. Then came the controversies that exposed the disconnect. In 2024, during an interview on CNBC, Engelbert was asked about the racism and online harassment directed at players, particularly Black players who were being targeted by some of Clark's new fans. Instead of immediately condemning the hate, Engelbert pivoted to talking about rivalries and how conflict drives engagement. She compared it to Magic Johnson and Larry Bird in the 1980s. Players were furious. They felt like their commissioner saw their pain as nothing more than a marketing opportunity. When Collier's exit interview dropped in September 2025, it confirmed what players had been feeling privately. They didn't trust Engelbert. They didn't believe she had their backs. And in a labor negotiation, trust is everything. The unrivaled threat. There's another factor the league desperately doesn't want to talk about. Unrivaled. In 2024, Breanna Stewart and Nafisa Collier founded a new 3-on-3 basketball league called Unrivaled. This wasn't some minor side project. They secured $340 million in funding. They signed major stars, including Paige Beckers. And here's the kicker. They offered players equity in the league. Unrivaled pays players six-figure salaries for just a few weeks of work during the WNBA's offseason. More importantly, it gives them ownership stakes. Players aren't just employees, they're partners. This changed everything. For decades, the WNBA operated as a monopoly. If you wanted to play professional basketball in the United States at the highest level, you had one option. Players had no leverage. Unrivaled killed that monopoly. Suddenly, players had alternatives. They could make serious money outside the WNBA. They could build their own businesses. They didn't have to accept whatever the league offered. The WNBA tried to dismiss Unrivaled at first, but as more stars signed on, reality set in. The players had options, and options mean leverage. The negotiation standoff, October 31st, 2025, was supposed to be the deadline. That's when the current CBA expired. As that date approached, neither side blinked. The league offered extensions. First 30 days, then another 40 days. Each extension pushed the deadline further, but it also revealed the league's desperation. They knew they couldn't afford a lockout. The 2026 season is critical. Portland and Toronto are joining the league. Those expansion teams need to draft players. Free agency needs to happen. Training camps need to open. If there's no CBA in place, none of that can occur. More importantly, the league can't afford to lose momentum. The 2024 season was the most successful in WNBA history. Attendance up 48%. TV viewership doubled. Social media engagement through the roof. If the 2026 season gets canceled or shortened, all that momentum evaporates. The players know this. They're not just negotiating, they're playing chess while the league is playing checkers. On December 1st, 2025, the league made another offer. Maximum salaries of $1 million guaranteed.
The WNBA's most recent offer for the players was a max salary of $1.1 million, guaranteed that $1.1 million,
with revenue sharing potentially pushing total earnings over $1.2 million.
Reach that $1.1 million mark with revenue sharing and other bonuses.
Minimum salaries of $225,000. Team salary caps are jumping from $1.5 million to $5 million, with the cap growing based on league revenue each year. It sounded good, better than the previous offer. But there was a catch. According to reports, the proposal also included lengthening the season and eliminating player housing subsidies. This would hurt rookies and players on short-term contracts the most. It would also interfere with March Madness. Many WNBA stars are college coaches or have close ties to college basketball. What players really want? This isn't complicated. The players want what their male counterparts have, a direct stake in the league's success. In the NBA, when revenue goes up, salaries automatically go up. It's tied to basketball-related income. The formula is transparent. Players know exactly what percentage they're getting. The WNBA wants to maintain control. They want to set the salary cap based on what they think is sustainable, not based on actual revenue. They're afraid that if they tie salaries directly to revenue and the league has a bad year, they'll lose money. But the players see this differently. They're the ones generating the revenue. Why should they accept a system where owners keep most of the upside? There's also a deeper issue: respect. For decades, women's basketball players have been told to be grateful for whatever scraps they get. Be patient. Don't rock the boat. The league is losing money, so you can't ask for more. But now the league isn't losing money. It's thriving. And the players are done being patient. Nneka Ogwumike, president of the Players Association, said it perfectly when the union opted out of the current CBA back in October 2024. This is about claiming our rightful share of the business we've built. The commissioner's impossible position: Cathy Engelbert is stuck between two powerful forces. On one side are the players, who have leverage and public support. On the other side are the team owners, who hired her and can fire her. Those owners are complicated. Some of them are billionaires who own the teams as passion projects. They're not in it for profit. Mark Walter, who owns the Los Angeles Sparks, is worth $7.5 billion. He can afford to pay players more. But other owners are more financially constrained. They're running businesses that still lose money in most years. They need the league office to protect their interests. Engelbert's job is to balance these competing pressures. Keep the players happy enough that they don't strike. Keep the owners happy enough that they keep investing. It's an impossible task, and she's failing at it. The player revolt isn't just about money. It's personal. When Napheesa Collier went public with those allegations about what Engelbert said in private meetings, she wasn't just trying to get a better contract. She was trying to get Engelbert removed. Multiple players have called for new leadership. Social media is filled with criticism of the commissioner. And while the league has officially backed Engelbert, she said in October that she's never been a quitter. There are rumors that some owners are losing confidence. The stakes beyond basketball. This fight matters beyond just the WNBA. It's a test case for women's sports broadly. For years, women athletes have been told their leagues can't afford to pay them fairly. The revenue isn't there. The fan interest isn't there. Be patient. Wait for the business to grow. The WNBA players are calling that bluff. They're saying the business has grown. The revenue is there. The fans are there. Now pay us. If they win, if they force the league to adopt an NBA-style revenue-sharing model, it changes the entire conversation about women's sports. It proves that female athletes can negotiate from a position of strength. It sets a precedent for the NWSL, women's hockey, and every other women's league. But if they lose, if they accept a deal that doesn't fundamentally change the economic model, it reinforces the old narrative. It tells the next generation of female athletes that they'll always be treated as secondary. The Clark paradox. Here's something fascinating. Caitlin Clark is both the league's biggest asset and potentially its biggest threat. She brings millions of fans and billions of dollars in value. But she also exposes how broken the system is. When the face of your league makes 140 times more money from endorsements than from playing basketball, something is deeply wrong. Clark has been diplomatic throughout these negotiations. In October, when asked about Collier's comments, she said, "I have great respect for Fee, and I think she made a lot of very valid points. I think what people need to understand, we need great leadership at this time across all levels." That's Clark speak, for I agree with the criticism, but I'm not going to directly attack the commissioner. She also talked about her responsibility to make the league better for future generations. "I grew up as a huge fan of this league, and I'm going to do everything I can to make this the league that a 5-year-old, a 10-year-old, a 15-year-old, a girl in college is really proud of to come into." Clark gets it. She understands her platform, and she's using it not for personal gain, but to fundamentally change women's basketball. The league hoped Clark would be their savior. She is, just not in the way they expected. She's saving women's basketball by forcing the league to treat players as partners rather than employees. Where is this headed? As of early December 2025, both sides have agreed to keep negotiating through January 9, 2026. But that's a soft deadline. Either party can terminate the extension with 48 hours notice. 3 scenarios could play out. The WNBA comes back with a new offer that includes direct revenue sharing tied to actual league income. Players get something close to what NBA players have, around 40–50% of basketball-related income. The deal gets signed, everyone celebrates, and the 2026 season happens on schedule. Probability, 40%. This requires the owners to accept significantly smaller profit margins and give up control over salary structures. Some owners might be willing, others will fight it. The two sides meet somewhere in the middle. Salary cap still exists, but grows more aggressively based on revenue. Players get better revenue-sharing bonuses. It's not everything the players want, but it's enough that they can sell it to their membership as progress. Probability, 50%. This is the most likely outcome. Neither side gets exactly what they want, but both can claim victory. Negotiations collapse. No agreement by late winter. The 2026 season gets delayed or partially canceled. This would be catastrophic for the league's momentum, but could ultimately force ownership to give players what they want. Probability, 10%. Nobody wants this, which is why it probably won't happen. But it's not impossible. The bigger picture, step back and look at what's really happening here. Women's basketball has reached a tipping point. For decades, the WNBA operated in survival mode. Every decision was about keeping the league alive. Player salaries were kept low because the business couldn't support more. Investment was limited because the return wasn't there. Then Caitlin Clark happened, and Angel Reese, and Paige Buckers, and suddenly the WNBA wasn't just surviving, it was thriving. But the business model didn't evolve fast enough. The league is still operating like it's 2010, when games drew 7,000 fans and nobody watched on TV. Players are telling them it's 2025 time to start acting like it. The WNBA stands at a crossroads. On one path is continued growth, fair compensation, and true partnership between players and ownership. On the other is labor conflict, lost momentum, and missed opportunity. Commissioner Cathy Engelbert is fighting to save her job and her legacy. The players are fighting for their future. And Caitlin Clark, the biggest star the sport has ever seen, is quietly supporting a revolution. This story is far from over. The next few months will determine not just the future of the WNBA, but the future of women's sports in America. Will female athletes finally get treated as equal partners in the businesses they build? Or will the old systems of control and underpayment survive? One thing is certain, the players aren't backing down. They've tasted success. They've seen the packed arenas and the massive TV deals. They know what they're worth. The question isn't whether women's basketball has value. The question is who gets to claim that value. If you found this story eye-opening, make sure to like this video. Drop a comment below telling us, do you think WNBA players should get the same revenue sharing as NBA players? And subscribe to our channel because this situation is developing fast. When the next big update drops, you'll want to know about it. We're going to keep following this story until it's resolved. The revolution won't be televised, but we'll be here to cover it anyway.